Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.arganissima.com. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty.
All right, folks, welcome back to the iHealth channel, the Fit and the Fab channel, and iHealth Radio. New day, new show, new guest, and actually, it's not a new guest. It's a common guest. We've seen her, we've heard her stories, and we had a great show. It's almost a year ago already. Wow, yeah. Time flies when you're having fun, right? Yeah, she's back and with some good stuff, new stuff. She'll tell us all about it. It is in the realm of the fitness and the wellness and the health, and we're still in the first couple of weeks of January of the new year. So the discussion of New Year resolution is very, typical in this time of the year, and everybody's committed. And now how we do with that, at this point, we have to find out. And I think without any further ado, I have with me Pam Sherman, coach, trainer, fitness, wellness. I mean, she's a guru, she's an expert, and she does a lot of work, and she has a phenomenal story. And so do check the previous show and her also shows and the work that she does. But we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But so Pam, welcome back.
Thank you. It is great to be back.
Yeah, listen, we when I saw it in the calendar, I'm like, is that something that we did book? Or it was, but like, yeah, it's New Year. I get it. And I do have some comebacks, in this year, because I mean, at the end of the day, out of sight, out of mind, as we say, and we want to keep, in the discussion. And you're an expert in what you do, and would like to hear more about that. And fitness is part of wellness, and wellness is part of fitness, health. It's all of the above. I mean, and at the end of the day, and I think you said it always, health is wealth. I think that's your one of the lines you use, and it is an important concept. So before we get into the details of the new stuff that's happening with you, let's just go back to the basics. Let's talk about Pam and her wellness and fitness modality, and your story a little bit, just to give some of the new audiences that and we are distributing more and further these days. So we want more people to hear about it, just because some people may have missed the first one. They'll probably catch on, soon after this. But go ahead, talk to us.
Sure. I am a 55-year-old health and wellness coach, and I have loved fitness my whole life. I'm one of those very lucky people that was born with motivation dripping out of my pores. So when people say they struggle with that, I'm like, oh no, I was born with that, which makes it perfect for me to be a coach to try to inspire other people on their wellness journey. I'm so passionate about strength training more than ever, because I'm sure I don't know if your listeners know, we lose muscle every decade starting at 40. So strength training and getting enough protein is like top of my list to talk about, because people do not know that unless we all see older people in the grocery store frail, and you hear about older people breaking their bones. It's because they didn't take care of themselves when they were younger. So the time to start doing that is now.
Well, that is huge, and we do want to spend some time on that. I mean, and I think it is a great topic of discussion, because we have two levels, right? You have the younger days, and and the youth, as we all go through it, and we have a very diversified audiences here, so everybody is from all over the different levels are going to be listening to this. But really, when you're younger, I mean, you feel the world is yours, and you can do whatever, and you beat your body up two ways: either you beat it up literally, or you beat it up by not taking care of it, by no nutrients, not taking the healthy choices or making the healthy choices. And then to your point, there is that 40 mark, and a lot of people don't realize what that mark is. If you're younger, you probably don't see it as like far away. When you pass it, it becomes like I want to go back. clock, but you're not going to do that. There's no way of turning the time clock, right? But the idea is, how do we maintain and really stay out, ahead of the curve, and really, to your point, not be frail as we advance in the age. And that's important. I mean, you're 55, I'm 51. I mean, we make 50s look good. Sorry,
Thank
guys.
you.
We have, this is talking about positivity. You got to keep that right in mind. It's in the mind, and you got to contribute to that mindset, by acting on it. And so let's talk about that. What you mentioned something about, by decade we lose mass, and that's key. And we'll see that it's harder to actually build muscle as you age, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. It is very feasible. I see a lot of people that are really, doing great and look great. I mean, we have some actors. I mean, they look phenomenal in the 70s. And so we and today, I think the age limits have changed. I mean, the 50s and the 60s and 70s are not what they used to be. I mean, you really can be looking fit, and healthier longer and longer and longer. And so let's talk about that. What is your take on that in terms of the wellness and the concept in general?
I think we have to get rid of the notion that, oh, when I'm X age, whether it's 50, whether it's 60, that I'm not going to feel good, I'm going to have aches and pains, because really our health is the only thing we have control over. So when you make your health a priority, and if you don't know how to do that, contact me. There's all sorts of fitness professionals out there. But you want a fitness professional because there's so much bad information out there, especially this time of year where there's all the fad diet pills and books and all that stuff. But you can control how you feel and how you age by what you do every day. Prioritizing protein at every meal is so important for everyone. It doesn't matter what your age is. Our society, unfortunately, is set up to eat a bunch of processed food and a bunch of crap, which does not serve you on your health journey or your age journey. Let's face it, at all. I say this to my clients: you have to eat for function and for your goals, and not for fun, if you want to feel good as you age. And they're like, oh, Pam, and I'm like, it's the truth. And you have to make time for strength training in your workout. Now, women my age, we are brought up cardio queens, being on the elliptical all day, every day, long distance running. Let's put that aside and really focus on HIIT training for your cardio. But let's get in 3 to 4 strength training sessions a week. And if you don't know how, you can always go to my YouTube channel, The Perfect Balance. I think I changed it to Pam Sherman, where I have body weight workouts to start with. But strength training is vital as we get old. I just read a statistic that when an older person falls, 40% of them are dead within a year.
Yeah, that's scary.
Nobody wants to fall. I mean, let's face it, we're all going to die at the end of our lives, but we want to control the quality of our life, and our muscles protect our bones. So we want to have strong bones as we age. And for those younger listeners, if you're lucky enough, you'll get to be our age someday. Aging, we're lucky to age, right? I mean, the alternative is not being here. So what you can do as you age every day is you have a lot of control over how you age.
Well, thank you. I mean, Pam, there's a lot of stuff back in there. So, and I think you've kind of covered a lot of the nutrition piece of that, right? And really the maintenance, the well-being, and even you talked about the key elements that you need to apply, and we'll get into more details. But and I love what you said about the younger folks, because listen, I remember those days, and you go to the gym and you do everything, and you think like you're invincible. And I still see people at the gym doing that. And, and so there's different things that you have to do. But know that, to your point, there's two things. You're either going to not make it, or you're going to make it. But if you make it, you want to make it healthy, fit, and well, because that's the thing. You don't want to have problems as you age, because that's the worst part. You're aging, but you're weak. You're aging, but you're not in the best shape. And that means you are vulnerable to even your immune system. Everything gets affected. Your lifestyle, your relationship with the world becomes difficult. And most of us also have some pride and ego. We don't want people to carry us and help us and stuff. And so ultimately, the idea is you want to live as independent as possible and as vitally, possible in that life. So that's important. But then you mentioned something that is important, that today, I think it's more than ever in the last couple of decades, is like, we live in a society of processed food, as you said, and fast food, and fast pace, and again, I will give the example of my own kids. Yeah, I have these discussions all the time. Like I had this discussion today with my son. Like, dude, I don't know what you eat because you're not getting anything that you're supposed to be eating, right? Oh, I do that. No, you don't. So we have that debate, but I see that more and more and more. And so the younger generation, I'm talking about like, the teenage generation, and just that's actually almost developing there. And then what do you think that's going to happen to you when you age, right? So that's one of the biggest problems we're going to face in decades to come.
It's almost like fast food and bad food is socially acceptable for everybody. It's not normal to eat at home more often. It's not normal to say no to the specialty coffee drinks that are more like a milkshake than anything else, or I call it cake in a cup because it has as much calories and sugar as a piece of cake. That's the norm. And I have a friend who has young kids, and she's like, "You don't understand. They want that every day." I'm like, "You're the mom. You get to decide if they have it every day or not. It's okay to say no."
Yeah,
But society wants you to say yes. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, you got from influencers, from that now in social media, it's all about that. Everybody's marketing their products. I get it; it's all business industries, but people have the choice, and they need to educate themselves as to what is what. But you're right. There is that level of almost like we're into this hypnosis where this is what we do and that's it, and it's just like everybody is expecting you, and it's okay. But what does that mean to you? You said it. I mean, if we eat all that junk now, your body is going to have all kind of problems. And a lot of doctors discovered these things over the years because now as they analyze the changes and more diagnoses and things like that, they realize that there's some impact, something changed. And when you go back, you'll find some of these things are the reasons why we have, today, cancer and a lot of other diseases. It's really because of the way we do stuff. Um, uh, I had a guest, we talked about sugar, free world type of concept. And actually there's a summit going on right now. It's about that. I mean, sugar is one of the worst enemies, and everything that's processed has sugar, and the fast food has sugar. And I love what you said about a cake in a cup. I mean, it is loaded with calories and sugar and stuff. And none of the, not maybe there's 1% of potential nutrients, that will help you there. But maybe if you're running, you're gonna burn some calories. You need some, but that's not usually the best. Now, I mean, again, I'm not a nutritionist, so I can't talk about it, but I've had enough guests, and discussions about it that I can at least, and I'm in the fitness world as well and stuff. So I know how that works. You need to have that. And it's a balance. But I love what you said about that. And you mentioned something about proteins and working your muscles and strength training. So let's talk about that. I mean, because people are afraid of strength training, especially as they age, because it's like, oh, I can't do this. It's too much. It's too heavy. Can I really pull and push and put all these extra weights on? So how do you navigate that? Because I think that's a big objection when people start aging. Even younger people can have that problem. So imagine as you age.
I would say for people that are afraid to start with body weight workouts, literally in your kitchen. If you're waiting for the Keurig or you're boiling hot water, go against your kitchen counter and do push-ups. That's a great place to start if you've never done anything. Pull out your kitchen chair. That's a perfect place. Sit down and stand up. That's a squat. You need to squat for the rest of your life, because if you can't squat, that's the number one reason people go to nursing homes, because they cannot get up off the toilet, which is a squat. So let's start in your kitchen. Literally, Betty Basics. And even if you've never done anything, 10 seconds of body weight push-ups, that can be a lot for somebody. And then go to 20 seconds, and then go to 30 seconds. Then you can go to plank. I mean, I have a ton of body weight workouts on my YouTube channel, but starting out with body weight, and then once you're comfortable there, then go to the gym. I would hire a trainer, especially if you've never done strength training before, have them show you a safe and effective program. I highly recommend free weights, especially for the ladies listening, because most workout equipment is made for men, tall men. Most of it is not made for our bodies, and we don't fit right on them. So free weights, bars, that would be a great place after you're comfortable with the body weight workouts.
Well, so that's an awesome, because part of the discussion here, because when you think weight and stuff, you never think about the body option, right? Or at least what you just mentioned. I mean, putting doing some push-ups on the counter. I mean, most people think push-ups, you got to go on the floor and do it and push the ground out, like we in martial arts say, push the ground down, right? But that's not the idea. I mean, you can do it standing, you can do it against the wall, you can do different things. You just have to have enough, gravity pull and stuff to push and to get, some traction, and you can feel the muscles. The idea you work in them, right? And then the other, like you said, the chair. I mean, everybody's got a chair. The exercise can be simple, but we don't think about it that way. I think most of us, or we even maybe criticize like, oh, come on, I'm not going to do that. That's like an insult, right? So which one is it? At the end of the day, something's better than nothing, right? And
Every
and you have to
time.
start. Yep.
And I say, if you think that's nothing, set your kitchen timer for 10 minutes and go back and forth between the squats and the push-ups, and then let you know after 10 minutes what you think, because it's not as easy as it sounds.
Oh, I love that what you said. I mean, I know it from just the world of martial arts. I mean, if you look at martial art training, there's no weights. I mean, it's all body, and gravity and all the stuff. And these guys look pretty cool. I mean, they don't tend to gain a lot of weight, but a lot of it is hit train, and it's more athletic stuff that they use. A lot of body push-ups, to your point, the jumping and all the stuff, and the squats. And I mean, a lot of these horse stands, I mean, they're really what they are. They're squats. But that's the thing. Like, there is more. I mean, if you do more reps and slower and different movements, I mean, your muscles. I mean, I had one time someone challenged me, I'm like, let me show you how you're gonna burn. Like, it was a shoulder exercise. I'm like, I'm gonna show you how your shoulders are gonna burn in less than 5 minutes. You'd be like, asking for help. And it was no weight. I mean, I just a simple exercise. And by the time they did that 5 minutes, they were literally like, sweating, and they were just like, oh my God, I'm in pain. Well, that's what it is. So there's a lot of stuff. But again, we don't tend to think that's the way to do it, because we just feel like, I got to run. And you mentioned best, most of us, we think cardio is the place, because we're thinking about dropping, and that's the thing, weight loss, right? That's a big deal, right? We want to keep the weight off, the calories, and you hear a lot of that. You got to burn the calories, and people are burning the calories, and they think the cardio is one piece of it, but actually you probably burn more when you do muscle, stuff, because the muscle is going to need all that energy and it's going to pull, and you're going to drop the weight, I mean, you're going to change the weight, I would say, first. And so there's a lot of that. And I love also what you said, Pam, about selecting a proper trainer, someone that will go through, because you don't want to go and start winging it, because that may not be a cool thing, and you're going to get hurt, or you're not going to get the results, and then you'll be like, disappointed, because that's what happens if you don't see the results. We all tend to like, I don't see any change. What the hell? And then the next thing you know, like, okay, I give up. But then when you give up, it gets worse. Because I think the last show we talked about, I think, and this is big with you, is that about consistency. You want to be like forever fit, not something like you want to do. And most people go to diets. You mentioned something about pills and diets, and it's okay, but no one can challenge us here. I don't care where they are in the world. No one can be consistently dieting for the rest of their life, because that would be very, I mean, maybe there's an exception, I don't know, but that would be very difficult to do, very costly, if anything, and you're not going to have the health, and physical aspect that you would think that you'll have. So it's a challenging piece. So it's all of the above, and you are available to people, and you do this for a living, and you actually work with people. And also, you mentioned something important, because women and men, there's different things, that we can do. We can do a lot of things that are similar, but you're right. You have to know what the dynamics are. You said it, the machines were designed differently. And so you need to know how to operate them. And having this discussion could be a little complicated, because people get excited about this, but there's not because it's a difference. It's just that's how it was designed. And so now there's more designs and things that are probably changing and shifting. But if you don't know how to operate those machines, you can have a problem. The bodies are different, the structures are different. So you have all that. And it is important to understand these things. Otherwise, again, you make mistakes. You're not going to be happy with your results, and therefore it's going to affect you long term. So let's talk about the supplement piece you mentioned in the diet. What's your take on that? I mean, obviously you said the first resolution of the year, everybody wants to be fit and lose weight. And they start with the diet concept and probably more supplements and things like that. So what's your take on it? I mean, I know you have an opinion about it, and it's good to share. Again, people can do their due diligence and research. So
I had a member of my gym ask me right maybe a week before Christmas, and he's like, hey, so I'm going to start these keto pills. I about lost my mind. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, my nutritionist told me to eat 125 to 150 grams of protein a day. I'm like, that's a great recommendation, but I'm not losing weight. I said, are you eating that much protein? No. What else are you eating? Well, it's Christmas. I'm eating sugar. And I'm like, trying not to lose my mind here. I'm like, well, if you eat real food, if you stick to that protein, stick to real food, have big salads every day. When you're hungry, grab an apple, prioritize protein every time you eat. That is the best way to lose weight. Track your food and app. There's tons of free apps. I like MyFitnessPal. There's a ton out there. Now, for women, I find we cannot physically eat as much protein as we need. So I always recommend a high quality protein shake. I personally love Isogenics and I work for them. I know it's a multi-level marketing company, but I think their products are the best. There are other ones out there. Those are the ones that I drink 2 a day because I cannot eat 120 grams of protein a day. It's too much. I get too full. Besides that, if you get your blood work done and your doctor recommends supplements based on what your blood work says, great. Weight loss supplements, might as well light your money on fire because they just don't work. Real food, prioritizing protein, consistency for the rest of your life, not just until you're done losing weight. Because many people, they do that, they get done losing weight, and they're like, I can go back to eating the way I used to. You can't because you're going to gain all the weight back and more. So I just have to say, please don't ever fall for the fad diets or anything that you buy on the shelf except for food. That's the only thing that's going to help you in the weight loss game.
Well, even with food, you got to be selective. Not all food is equal.
Real food, I would say prioritize single ingredient foods. If the food has more than 5 ingredients, it's a very once in a while food. And when people stick to the outside of the supermarket, like a lot of meat, fish, eggs, fruit, veg, focus on that and not so much the inside. When people say, what do you think about oh my gosh, the cereal? I'm like, don't even go down the cereal aisle. There's nothing good on that aisle for you. The labeling, the marketing people lie to you.
Breakfast of the champions.
Cheerios is not heart healthy. It's not good for you. Sorry.
No. Listen, I mean, listen. This is a show about resources, about facts, and I think it's important that people realize that. And again, you said, I mean, market. I have this discussion also with my kids all the time. You guys really underestimate the power of marketing. I am in sales and marketing in my other life, and I know what we do to promote things. And although we do in healthcare and insurance is different, it's more about getting people on the right products. But when it comes to getting people to buy stuff, there is a whole psychology. There's a whole dynamic to it, and people do buy because it's what you hear, see it in movies, you see it everywhere, and you're surrounded by those messages. And like again, that's why they stated Breakfast of Champions, right? I mean, it's something that you've seen for years and years and years, and we get conditioned to those things. That's what you think a Breakfast of Champions looks like, and you do. Oh, I'm getting my cereals, maybe the milk, and that's even a question. but we're not going to go that way. But you I love what you said about the supplements because unless they're like vitamins and minerals and things that you might be lacking in your blood because you're not getting. And typically, if you get all the stuff that you mentioned, all those outskirt food types, the veggies and you will get all those minerals and vitamins correctly. But if you don't do that, then you definitely have to supplement, and people may have deficits, here and there. And again, to your point, it's still with a doctor. All what we're talking about right now is discussion about behaviors, but you do still need to always check with your primary, doctor and make sure that whatever you do, and even exercise, you don't just exercise without consulting, especially if you have problems that may be a problem. So just that's always we are on a caution there. But so now let's talk. January is here. The month of resolutions. You said it. People come to you with all different, I'm going to do this, I want to do that. But and you stated something important for audiences. Just to recap. The idea of you want to build and you don't want to go back, because the minute you go back, it's going to get harder and more disappointing. And then you're in that cycle and it's just not going to work. The idea is to find that perfect, balanced, between every single thing that you need to do to keep with it without having to go back. And it's hard. I mean, I know that for me, I mean, to maintain weight, to maintain the right shape, it takes time, it takes work, it takes this and sacrifice. And sometimes you get caught with business, with everything else. It's not easy, and we understand it. But having someone, as you stated, that is with you to train you, to guide you, to help you. And even as simple as you said, like, what is a good quantity of protein? I mean, most people would say 20 grams. I don't know. I mean, you don't know that. So you have to look. I mean, there's charts about these things too. And when you talk to someone that's got expertise, I mean, Pam, for example, you talk to Pam, she's going to tell you that. And I love what you said. You have plenty of videos to help people out. That's important. But January is the month where everybody is ready to make the change. but it seems that unfortunately, after you get to this week and you start getting to the third one, a lot of that commitment disappears. So let's talk about the commitment part of it, the psyche of that, and then how that all, I guess, plays in this mix of fitness and wellness and health.
Well, I find that many people put your health and wellness is not like The Secret, the book where you just put it out in the universe and it happens. It just doesn't work like that. That you actually have to make an action plan with every goal that you have. So if you say, I want to lose 5 pounds, how are you going to do that? Are you going to log your food every day? Because for everybody listening, your food is the weight loss or is the driver in the weight loss car. It's never about the exercise because your body burns more calories during the day just living than your workout, unless you're like a crazy CrossFitter or ultra endurance person. For the average person, your basal metabolic rate, what everything takes to burn every day, it's always going to be about your food. So if you want to lose weight, keeping track of your food is a great thing to do every single day, weekends, holidays, everything. Also, are you getting daily movement? Are you getting it? There's no perfect amount of steps, but like if you work from home, get up every hour and take a 5-minute walk. At lunchtime, maybe take a 10-minute walk after lunch. Make sure you're adding in when are you going to go to the gym to strength train? Or when are you going to do it in your backyard? Because you can do body weight workouts at home. But you actually have to plan. So when I have my clients, you make a goal and then you have 2 or 3 action steps to reach a goal and make the goals tiny. When you say, I want to lose 50 pounds, oh my God, that's so much. Let's do 5 pounds at a time because then you reach it, you feel like a rock star, like, okay, then we're going to do the next 5. So small, measurable goals that you can reach and making a plan to reach it is so, so important, which I don't think people realize and that doesn't happen on its own. I wish it did, but it just doesn't.
Well, Pam, I mean, it's amazing how you're describing that. I mean, that is literally like a business plan, but it's for your health.
Yes.
I mean, you got to have short-term goals and your long-term goals, and you have to actually see it in front of you and start working towards it. And to your point, yeah, you're gonna get little moments where like you get excitement. I got the first target. Yes, next, and that's the thing. Like you're not gonna be able to get it all done in overnight. And if you did fastly, it's gonna be a problem for you because your body is gonna. And I love what you said about that. The body is burning regardless. And actually, even when we sleep, the body's still burning. But Pam, today more than ever, we have this pandemic, post-pandemic, but it's pandemic in its own, where people are sitting and working behind the screen, sitting long hours now because of remote work and stuff. I mean, the pandemic actually created another one,
Yep.
but really now it's a phenomenon where people actually, and we've seen that with the gaming industry and people sitting behind a screen and spend hours and hours and just shoving food in and so we have that trend that's almost like a new behavior in this time and of ours, and that actually is a very difficult place to be because probably are not eating well, and you said it, there's not enough movement. So what would you recommend to people to do? I mean, I know there's basic things, but if someone's sitting home right now and they just need it, maybe I can't leave because I'm on a call center and I gotta, stay, plugged into the system. What can they do while they're sitting there?
You're sitting in a chair, so you can squat. You can get up every 15 minutes and do 10 squats. If you have a desk, why don't you do some push-ups at your desk? If you are able to once an hour, whether you can take a 1-minute walk, 2-minute walk outside where you get some fresh air, because our brains need fresh air. It just rejuvenates everything. It just makes you more energized. But squats and push-ups are one of the best things you can do. If you don't have to talk or show your face, why don't you do 10 jumping jacks? That'll get your energy up as well. Some movement is better than no movement. And make sure you have water. Water's, it's not exciting, right? But we're made up of 65% water. We need to be drinking water all day long. And I hate meal prepping myself. Making sure you have food at home that's easy to put together, where you prioritize protein and you have a lot of different color veg, fruit. That would be a great thing to have at home. So making a meal is easy. And really, your meal should keep you full for 4 hours or so. If you're hungry an hour later, you did not get enough protein.
So it's amazing you say that, because earlier you mentioned something about I am working and I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm not seeing the results. But I think I've heard that I see this myself. I mean, I've heard this line where, oh, I'm doing all this, but I'm not seeing changes. Well, what are you eating? I mean, are you eating the right time? Because some people actually, they go at night and they just kind of like go crazy,
I know.
and then they go to sleep. I mean, there's behavior behind this. I mean, and I think understanding all these dynamics will make a difference between your sleep, between your protein and intake, between your hydration. I mean, water, to your point. I mean, people don't drink enough water. If you sit at a desk all day and you feel like, it happened to me actually. I was at a job and I get caught up between meetings and meetings and meetings. I don't even make it to drink water. And it was literally like brutal. I would have to come home at night and start drinking and making up, which is not really the best way to do it. Because you got to do it through the day. I've had a very rough year, like a few years back, where I had no choice. Well, I had a choice, but only in the weekends I was able to hydrate properly. And it was, I felt it. You feel dry. You feel not in a good place. So water is almost like, it is the liquid of life. Right? You need it. So it's all, and you mentioned something about walking out and getting fresh air, oxygen. I mean, you get no matter where you are in the house or in the office, your air is still circulated and filtered, but it's really just recyclable air, unless you open the windows and everything, which most of us these days don't do that, especially if you're in the colder air territories. Or actually, if you're in the hot territories, you have AC, so you don't open your windows. One way or the other, you're locked in, and you don't get enough. It's amazing. These are little things that we don't even pay attention to, but those are like real important pieces of how it all plays. It's not one element; it's all of the above. So
it is, and you can even set your alarm as a reminder to drink water. My mother-in-law was a terrible water drinker, so I said, "Do you know how to set your alarm?" And she said, "Of course I don't." I said, "How about if I set it for you 4 times during the day?" She doesn't know how to turn her alarms off, so they still go off 4 times a day to remind her to drink.
I love it. Well, whatever works, right? I mean, again, sometimes you got to trick yourself into doing things, and having these systems can help you. I mean, reminders, this, that, the other. You got to find, for my mom, it's funny. Her doctor had recommended to park far away from anything so we can get some walking to wherever we're going. So this way, you get at least those steps in. When as opposed like how we all have those handicap parking permits, and you want to park right in front. I mean, if you're disabled, I get it. But if you're just getting old or whatever, you might want to be a little further to actually get some steps in. It's as simple as that. And it works.
And can I tell you one thing that drives me absolutely crazy? I can't take it. The people that wait in the Starbucks line. Please park in the parking lot and go in the car, or go in the store. When I see 20 cars waiting in line, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Get out of your car, or whatever drive-through it is. Get out of your car, walk in, walk out. Okay, I'll stop.
Well, I'm going to make a joke about that. I actually, for a selfish reason, it will be easier to actually walk in, because sometimes you get faster service, you get quality service, and you know what you're getting. Because you drive, sometimes you don't have time to look, and you drive away. It's like, damn, I'm missing something. It's not, it doesn't even work that way. But you're right. I mean, but unfortunately, it's, the lifestyle that we have. It's just run, and
it is.
And so we get caught into that mix because life happens. But the most important part of life, we actually neglect, and that is our health. Because if we don't do all these things, your life is not going to be as fun, to do the stuff that you want. Even working is going to be difficult because if you're sick, for example, and you can't go work, I mean, you might lose your job. You might be on disability. Things will be bad for you financially. So there is ramifications everywhere you touch it. There is an outcome. But do we put those things in front? Like, what happens if I don't do this? If people ask that question, they'd be like, oh, damn, I got to be more careful. I got to do this. Do it for yourself. I mean, I think if you're healthy, you can contribute to everybody around you, your family, your kids, your significant other, the workplace, society. I mean, you can just do more. And if you don't, well, you're just hurting yourself. And then again, even the healthcare system, we had the whole one discussion about, I mean, we talk about sustainability and things in the world these days, but a lot of things actually do affect everything else. I mean, if everybody's sick, I mean, it's paying the industries and the healthcare system, but also it crashes the healthcare system sometimes, because we might not have the infrastructure to actually meet all this potential demand when we're all sick. So it's that kind of thing. It happened with the pandemic. Now that's a unique, case, but we do have an influx sometimes of problems that we didn't even see before. I mean, diabetes is a big thing today. It's just, I don't think it's going to go away because of the way we eat and the way we do things. It's amazing.
Well, and when you and I were young, it was called adult onset diabetes because young people did not have it. And now kids as young as age 5 have it. So it's called type 2 diabetes now.
You know what's funny about that is that since the beginning of babyhood now, when you're a child, an infant, I mean, once you pass the stage of milk or like, whatever, in formula or regular milk, you get into like the drinks and it's all sugary. There's a lot of sugar and candy. I mean, we talked about this. Everything is candy. I mean, we had a whole show about sugar-free stuff, right? And no sugar. And the concept is really, you cannot have sugar literally in the first 5 years. That was something I've learned, or 6 years. And then when you develop that, then you have a better behavior with sugar. But we actually, in those early ages, sugar is like part of our life. Everything is sugar. You dump sugar and everything. And by the way, we're not talking about natural sugar. We're just talking sugar that is just granulated stuff. And that is not really, really a good form of sugar, if anything. I mean, maybe fruit, sugar, whatever. It's a different level. But we actually kill ourselves so early on that by the time and I think we're going to see more and more and more of early stages of disease and types of diseases and problems because our behavior, originally. I mean, if you look at historically, there's this whole discussion. Oh, people lived less. People didn't have the longevity they have today and all this stuff, but they lived a different lifestyle and they were healthy. I mean, people really ate natural stuff, exercised. They had to walk to places. They worked outdoors. They were, with sun, so they had enough vitamin D business. It was just different and the way things happen. And you can still see people that are living, for example, in suburban areas, maybe farmland. It might have a little bit more than people that, for example, in the city is worse. I mean, because we are literally like, talking about free, what do you call cage-free chicken? We're in the city somehow,
Yeah.
if you do the analogy of like, we may be just not as different from that kind of level, but that's what we are. We are in these little compartments and it's difficult. I mean, we've seen it also in the pandemic when the lockdown was there. People that were like in metropolitans, they really suffered the most, than because they couldn't even get out of the house.
Right.
So
I think people make it harder than it is. Your health. Like if you look back at what your grandparents, like you said, how they lived, they ate real food. They didn't eat processed. I mean, it depends how old you are, but they ate real food. They ate eggs for breakfast, eggs and bacon, eggs and sausage. They worked out in the fields all day. They had, everything they made was homemade. There was no processed foods. So their rates of cancer, their rates of heart disease, there was zero type 2 diabetes for kids it was, a very, very small amount of the population had it because they ate real food. Where if you stick to real food, daily movement, drink your water, avoid sugar's
poison.
It's poison. I call it the bad boyfriend. It's so hard to break up with.
I'm sorry, I was funny. That's good. That's a good one. Well, it's in my case, it would be like a bad wife or bad girlfriend. But I think it's a bad significant other. It's just not good. It is amazing.
It draws you back in, and you want to wake up, and it draws you back in. You want to break up.
Well, you get cravings. That's the thing. It almost you feel that like your body's asking for it because you're conditioned, and it's hard to get rid of it. And people like are attached to it. And it takes time to really get to the point where you can completely just be off it. It's a drug.
Well, and when your palate gets used to eating processed foods and a lot of sugar, eating real food does not taste as good as a processed stuff does. There's definitely it takes a couple weeks, I would say, to enjoy the taste of real food because processed food makes your palate like, oh, you want that extra sugar, salt, and fat that processed foods is perfect at putting together.
Yeah, they taste good, don't they?
I don't eat them, so no.
I mean, people are watching us like, they probably agree. Like, yeah, they do taste. But that's the thing. Like, not everything that tastes good is good for you. And that's the other part. I mean, listen, to your point, fruits. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, I live in Jersey, so in the summer we make it to the farms and get some real fresh produce. We go to the trees and get the peaches and all the stuff. Go strawberry picking. And the taste and the flavors and how you savor those things are completely different from what you get, if you buy it already frozen or but so at least we get about 3 or 4 months worth of nice fresh stuff. And ultimately we're luckier than some, folks that may not have access to, but people can travel, a little bit to somewhere and there's a farm. But you're right. It's difficult to have that, but just reduce that extra. I mean, listen, people do want to go out and have dinner and have lunch, but even that you have to be selective what you eat. I mean, you can go to a restaurant, but that's not fast food, but it's still not home cooking. Some restaurants are better than others, and so it depends what you. I mean, People like pizza, people like sandwiches, people like this, people like that. But there's like a standard almost menu when you go out. Is the pizza, the wings, the fries, the burgers, the cheese, this, that. It's like, you don't get maybe steak. I mean, that's a good one, but that also depends what kind of steak and where is it burned? Is it this or the other? So there's so much stuff that we can discuss about. I mean, in terms of nutrition. So now let's talk about what are some of the things that we need to be aware of today. For example, this is month one. If we're really, I mean, and you covered a lot of grounds. So what are some of the measures that we need to take, really just basic steps to actually have a better 2023? Well, for lack of words.
I tell people to put themselves on their calendar every day, whether it's for a workout, whether it's to plan out what you're going to eat that day, because when you leave your health to chance, it goes to shit. It just does. You're going to go for the fast food. You're not going to get your workout in. You're not going to think about what's for dinner that night. I mean, your health takes planning and it takes work, but you're worth it. And for a lot of women, they think it's selfish to take time for their health. And it's not selfish. It's like the airplane. You put the oxygen mask on you first and then your child. So much to your point that you said earlier, when you work out, when you take care of yourself, you're more productive, you're happier, you're a better partner, you are just a better person overall. So it's not selfish. It actually makes you happier with yourself. So taking that time for yourself is important and getting that in your head for the rest of your life. Never selfish. Self-care is self-care and everybody needs to do it. Focusing on real food. That's huge. Now women, we love our carbs. Oh my gosh, we could live on carbs. Women, especially as we get older, a lot of people around my age, we're in menopause. I'm in menopause. We lose estrogen. We are going to lose our muscle unless we focus on prioritizing protein and strength training. And the strength training is for everyone. If we're lucky enough to age, we want to keep our muscle. So number one, self-care. Yes. Number two, prioritize protein. Three, strength training. Daily movement is so important. I was in Europe over the summer. I did not see one gym. They walked everywhere, and I did not see one overweight person. They walk everywhere. So daily movement, I find, is very, very important.
Is that something though? I mean, not even if you go to a restaurant in Europe, I mean, the food, portions are different. The quality is different, and people do look much slimmer, much thinner, much healthier, and I think the quality of life is just completely different. I mean, I was in Spain also in the summer, and it just a different, I mean, we walked everywhere, to your point. I mean, you have a hotel that's central and you just walk around. I mean, you spend hours. And when you think about how many miles you actually put in without even realizing how many miles, because you're busy, you're walking, you're doing this, you're doing, and it's amazing how you feel. I mean, at the end of the day, you feel like energetic and you got the whole stomach. Here, well, that's the other thing. I mean, ultimately, if you're in a city, you can do that. And I mean, in some areas, like the states are big, and a lot of us live in areas that are more like suburban. So there's highways and stuff, and you have to go somewhere to get just your basic food. And so it's a little hard, but that doesn't mean you can't walk around. I mean, you go to any development, you can still walk around. And so there are parks that we can do. You can go and park and really go to the park and do your thing. So there's alternative, but you're right. There's different style. We just don't have that in our culture has. That's not it's changed, and we can learn from that. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, and it was interesting too, is that our society is so casual now and laid back, and people are wearing sweats and workout clothes everywhere. In Europe, the women, most of them are in dresses. Nobody's wearing sweatpants. Nobody's in yoga pants. They're all their clothes are fitted. And it was shocking. Like, everybody's in sweatpants here. Like, you go to the grocery store, people are in sweatpants, and I'm guilty of going out in workout clothes. I live in workout clothes. But when they're like, oh, I'm underdressed, I need to wear a dress. I think they're more, it was just interesting that they wear clothes that fit, where you don't see that a lot here, because there's no double XL in Italy. They don't sell those on the shelves. They sell clothes because they don't have double XL people. So they're eating real food and they're moving on the daily.
It's different. I mean, listen, people are watching, listen right now. I mean, there is a way to do this. We just have to all kind of figure it out for ourselves. And we're not in Europe, so I mean, we can't have the same, but we can do enough to mimic that level. But you're right. It's all about us. I mean, I have a joke. I mean, my wardrobe, and I've been maintaining the same size for years. and I don't change. I try to keep the same size. I would never get another size. And if I start feeling that it's getting snug, that's the time when I know that something is off. I have to get loose again. So it's like I have these measures, because some people, like, they have this, like, couple of sizes just in case, so they can. I refuse that concept. I learned that a long time ago. You keep the size, so you don't. So I know I need to be this or less, nothing more. And it's
Yeah.
difficult, but it helps.
A lot of women have their skinny clothes, their medium clothes, and their fat clothes. I'm like, no, no, no. You should not have that many options in your closet. Stick with your happy weight. Doesn't have to be we're not going for a high school weight. Most of us were very different back then. Your happy weight. So I love the fact that you know that, oop, getting snug, time to make a
Oh
change.
yeah, I mean, and you know the difference. Like, oh, this is like, like your belt is actually now getting on the last sort of drop, and so I need to get
Yeah.
like 4 points down. And so it helps. These are like just almost memory joggers, right? Things that keep you like at bay with this. Like you're
Yeah.
really like almost like these are identifiers. Oh, I think there's a problem here. I'm not feeling good anymore. This is not the right fit. I'm tight over my shoulders. There's something going on. I'm not talking about muscle. It's usually the belly. It's for us. I mean, it's usually the belly. That's the biggest part. That the man gain weight immediately on, and then you get everything else. And that's the other thing
Yeah.
I think what people don't realize is that it's both sides. It goes both ways. So one is that you don't gain weight in one place. I mean, it starts all over. The weight kind of like goes in. Your arms are gonna still gain weight slowly but surely, but you're gonna see a lot more of it in your belly, at least for the guys. And then on the flip side, if you're losing weight, some people say, "Well, can you just work my belly off and it's gonna go?" The body doesn't recognize
Mm.
the fat just here. When it burns, it's gonna be really burn equally everything that's on your body. So you're gonna lose from your legs, from your arms, from your cheeks, from your face, from your breast, your chest, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then your final stage will be your belly. That's the last pouch. and some people like, oh, can you make me thin from the waist down? I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
No such thing as spot reducing. And I find that the place that people want to lose weight from the most is the last to go normally.
Yeah.
So if it's a belly, they'll start to lose weight in their face, arms, and then
Well,
eventually,
that's the easy one. Yeah, the first one that shrinks, and then you start losing everything else. But that's the last part, and then even when you lose that, you still got that bottom pouch, and that's the hardest of all of them. And as your age is even it gets worse and worse in time. But again, you talked about strength training and building the muscle, and so that's an important piece. So let's
yeah.
talk about that just for a moment. Like, why is that important to people? I mean, the muscle is, you mentioned something about it. You need the muscle so you can have better, protection for your bones and everything. But how's that important to all of us out there, listening and watching right now?
When you strength train, your body actually burns more calories for the rest of the day, as opposed to when you, like, say, go for a 2 mile run, your body's done burning calories after your run. When you strength train, your metabolism is raised for the rest of the day, so you burn more calories. That doesn't mean, for everybody listening, if you're logging your food on an app like MyFitnessPal, do not add in your exercise calories. If you are trying to lose weight, those are calories that go in the bank. You don't, they're like, I get to eat 300 more calories. No, 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 no. Don't put that back in. People are afraid that they're going to get big, bulky muscles. Actually, though people I know, myself included, my body has shrunk. I'm actually smaller, fitting into smaller clothes, lifting weights. Muscle takes up less room than fat. Women, you're never going to get big, bulky muscles ever, ever, ever. You're going to look better and your clothes are going to fit better. I know it sounds funny, but for every woman I know that starts lifting, their clothes, they have to get smaller sizes when they lose weight and they strength train. So eating right and strength training is really a magic combination. Guys, you probably want to get big. You have to eat a lot of protein to get big and lift a lot of weight. And it's very hard to do as you get older. But if you start those habits as a young man, it's easier to maintain as you get older.
Well, that's pretty powerful. And I asked the question so you can give us that answer. And it's important because I love what you said. It's almost like being condensed, but really in a good way. I mean, you lose all the fluff and it's all lean, mean. That's it. And
Yeah.
that's what you want. And you're right. So you're not shrinking, you're just actually toning in the right fit. And then that's it. You lose all the excess. And I can see the picture as you were describing it. It's like I can see that whole thing happening. but I love what you said also about the metabolism, like kicking beyond just the workout. So because your body's still kind of, it's still in gear. That's why, you got to do it and you work out an hour or two, whatever. But then the whole day you operate. A lot of people actually love to do I do that too. I love to go in the morning to the gym because it gives me the energy for the whole day. I'm
Yes.
literally like, I'm like, if you, and if you go at night, that's the worst part. I did that too. You come back from work, you go to the gym, now you can't sleep because your body's like kicking, like you're so hyper, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
And so early is perfect. I mean, obviously, if you don't have time, whatever you find time. But you're right. That just explains the concept of energy and how your body is still going to be like working. Sometimes you don't. You the next day is your body is still kicking because now, especially when you do different workouts and different muscle, types in the body, because not you don't do everything one day, right? I mean, some people do, but I think there's the concept, but that's why it's important to have a trainer to guide you. Today we're gonna do the arms, the upper body, lower body, abs, whatever, back, and so on and so forth. Legs, I mean, leg day. I mean, legs can take a lot of energy on you. They can build up. Well,
Absolutely.
but Pam, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you said it best with the idea that I've heard that story before where oh, I don't want to get bulky and build muscle like a man. I mean, I've heard this from ladies, and it's very. I mean, my wife is a fitness instructor, and we hear that all the time. And they said like, "Well, I don't want to do that, so I don't want to look like these guys, and chisel." I mean, unless you're going to the fitness world and doing some competition, that's one thing. But that doesn't work that way, and you perfectly stated it for everybody. So people are listening right now. Get comfortable. You can do this.
That myth can never die. Like I've been doing this for 26 years and people still think that. I'm like, I've never met one woman ever who's gotten big and bulky from lifting weights. It just doesn't happen. I should say this. I wish it was easy to build muscle. I really do wish, but
Yeah,
I
we'll
have
be
been
luck monsters.
right. Exactly. Incredible Hulk. Here we go.
Yeah, no, I mean, but again, to your point. I love what you said, myth. That's the key word here. I mean, but it's there because again, it's what we see in the movies and stuff, and you get maybe a physical vision of what that looks like, but that's not going to apply to you. And there's DNA, there's genetics, there's all kind of stuff that happens. Your sleep can actually make a difference with how you're going to do. Your body is going to
Yeah.
operate. I mean, age is a key. Metabolism is another one. You're 30 years old. It's a different metabolism. 40 changes, 50, and it just keeps almost going down. So you got to maintain it somewhere. You have to compensate. It's like going uphill, and you got to change the gears and make sure that you compensate. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's a step. So people sometimes may not realize how simple it is. As said, it's not difficult, but it takes work. It takes strategy. It takes understanding, and it takes someone like you to help.
It's simple, but it's not easy.
That's a very good one.
And you have to make it a priority every day. And I've had clients say it's like a job. And I said, but nobody else can do this job for you. You can hire a housekeeper, you can hire a chef, you can hire out everything, but you can't hire out anybody to take care of your health. So the sooner you start to implement things into your day to be successful for the rest of your life, the sooner you'll see success.
You got to invest. I mean, this is again, we talk business. This is your business. I mean, and I love what you said about that. That example always comes back about the airplane and the mask. You want to be selfish. You want to be for self-awareness, self-talk, making whatever you want to call it, self-awareness, you mentioned another word,
Care.
self-care. There you go. I lost that one. I said all of them except that one. Self-care. So it's about you first, but then you will be better. And that's who doesn't want that? You want to look good. You want to feel good. You want to actually have alive. You want to be like vibrant. You go out there and people can, oh my God, your energy is like amazing. Well, that's important, right?
Yes. Yes. Put down the soda, switch it out with water, switch out your chips for an apple, switch out your sandwich make it a chicken salad. Do these little tiny things and you'll see a big difference in your day. Go for a walk at lunch, go for a walk after dinner. These little things really do add up to big changes.
So Pam, you're asking a lot from people.
I know.
But so I want to just I was funny about that, but here's the thing. There are people that say, well, I'm comfortable the way I am. I mean, I don't want to do this. And I think there is that level where people they get to a point where they can make the change or they feel that they can't. And what would you say to those people? Because I don't think that's the case. They can always make the change, but obviously they get to the point where they're just almost giving up. So what would be your message to them?
How do you want to feel in 10 years? How do you want to feel in 20 years if we're lucky enough to age? Because what you do today will affect how you feel then. If you want to feel better, if you want energy, you have to start taking care of yourself today. And it's not doing everything all at once. It's, hey, I'm gonna add a walk today after dinner, maybe after lunch too. I'm gonna switch out my soda, which is the bad boyfriend or spouse, for water. I mean, little things, going to bed earlier, getting better sleep. I want to feel like a rock star when I'm 70, when I'm 80. I still want to travel. I still want to be have no aches and pains. I'm 55. I have no aches and pains. I know people my age who moan and groan when they get up off of a chair. I don't have those problems because I've taken care of myself my whole life. And it's never too late to start. Your body is super resilient. So adding in little things really can change your future. And it's up to you to start.
It's powerful, Pam. So now the next one is people may be like, well, I want to do all this. Sounds great. But how long is it going to take me?
Okay, that question drives me crazy. Our health is a marathon. It's not a sprint. But I will tell you this, if you change some habits, some daily habits, you'll feel better in a few days. I've had clients say, adding in one big salad and drinking water, like, oh my God, I have so much more energy. So it's harder to see physical changes quickly because those don't really happen quickly. But emotionally, when you put better fuel into your tank, and if I could tell everybody, your body is like a Ferrari. It's not like an old Yugo. Remember those from the 80s, those little crappy cars? You're a Ferrari. So when you put better fuel in, you feel better. So results feeling better could be very quick. Seeing weight loss, it's never a fast game, it's the long game. But the consistency will pay off and you will absolutely reach any goal you have 1 pound at a time.
You can ask more from that. I mean, I love it. I mean, that's actually really a strict and a straight response to it. I mean, yeah, the results are not going to be all in one shot, but you have to expect that it's going to take some time. But you're going to see some gains, some wins, slowly. To your point, and even the health. I mean, I think the other part that people we haven't touched yet is that maybe we briefly talked about it, is when you're healthy in your lifestyle and doing all this behavior and you building the muscle and doing all this, your immune system is also like in a much better place, which means, God forbid, pandemic, this, that, the other, your body is more able to fight or at least protect you, to a degree. You'll probably have less problems than someone who doesn't. I love what you said about how you want to feel 10 years from now. Nobody wants to go sooner than later. I mean, we want to live as long as we can, but do you want to live again really in a bad shape, or you want to live, happy, feeling good and stuff? But you're right. It's like what the seeds you plant today is what you're going to get, later. If you do a bad job right now. But also, I love what you said. So there is hope for everyone. There is no such thing as a bad time where I can't start until it's too late. You said it. I love it. 6 months. It's, it will take time. You start the change, you'll start seeing everything. Doesn't matter what you're in, you can make the change and the commitment, and the rest will fall in place. So thank you so much for that. I think people are going to get excited about it. Hopefully, folks, listen, if you're watching and listening right now, this is it. You take this to the bank, make it work.
One day at a time. That's it.
All right. So Pam, what's new with you now this year?
This year, I'm actually working with a couple different menopause groups. I am their fitness professional for 2 different groups. One of them is Karen Martell Hormones. She is a hormone expert. So for women going through perimenopause and menopause, she helps them navigate the hormone side of things because it's not really talked a lot about, which 50% of the population is women. We're all going to go through menopause. We need a lot of help. So I work with her. I do a food and fitness talk with her members, and I make exercise videos for her every month. And another gal, Anissa, it's called Be Untethered. I make exercise. I'm her fitness professional as well, make workout videos for her. And I talk on fitness only with her group because women, we tend to be all or nothing with everything.
I think we're all guys too. I think it's a standard.
And I try to give a gentle approach for everybody listening. We talked about this earlier. A 10-minute workout is better than a 0-minute workout every day. And that's why I have a huge playlist of 10-minute workouts, because I have a lot of clients that are teachers. I'm like, look, get in my 10-minute workout before work, because nobody, at least at our age, nobody wants to work out after work. It's very hard. Get your longer workouts on the weekend. But I fit a lot in 10 minutes, and then your energy's up for the day. You're more positive. You feel great. You have more bandwidth with your kids, all that stuff. So I try to be the more moderate, like, You don't need an hour of cardio. Oh my gosh, let's get a quick strength training in. So that's very exciting. I love helping women on their fitness journey. Like I said, I was born with motivation dripping out of my pores, so I like to inspire other women on their fitness journey.
No, well, thank you. I mean, that's awesome work that you do, and I know you go also on podcasts and you do all this stuff, and you're really sharing the wealth out there. And you talked about menopause, and I've actually a few shows already on menopause, on the channel, and yeah, I mean, that is, you said 50%. I think there's more, the percentage, I think more. And and it's important. I mean, that this is a fact. It's going to happen. Menopause is not something that you're going to be able to escape. And, in the shows that we had and the experts I had on, that was the biggest thing, like the peri and then post and then during. Those are different types of changes that are happening. And if you are taking yourself correctly, it goes a lot smoother and then the outcomes are better and you can really be good. And there's a lot of shifts and changes in the hormones, and I love what you're doing, because I mean that's important, because I think that is big, and not a lot of people talk about it. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, it's, you don't hear about it on TV. I don't remember seeing a show on TV about menopause. Maybe it is, I don't know.
No, and every woman goes through it. And it's just, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. You hear a lot of women saying, well, I got menopause middle. Like, you have wine middle. That's not menopause. That's wine. Because as we get older, we cannot process sugar, aka the bad boyfriend, as easily. A lot of women love wine, and it does sit in the middle. So you see a lot of women in midlife with a bigger middle, and that's from the extra sugar. So unfortunately, we cannot metabolize like we could in our 20s. Like you said, our metabolism changes. But yeah, there's not a lot of information out there. And working with these groups it's just great to help women on this journey, because what we worked out, like you said, in our 20s, we can't work out like that in our 50s. It's just a whole different ball game. So it is a couple really amazing groups I'm part of. It's really exciting.
All right. Well, listen, I keep up the great work. Any books, anything going on? Anything that you
I've started one, lessons from my accident, but it's very slow going because I have a lot of other things. I'm working with a couple different companies. I'm working with I have a private Facebook group called the Perfect Balance Tribe, which is a group coaching program. So I have my hands on a lot of different things. So that book is very slow going right now.
it's okay. Listen, it's happening. It will happen, and then to get you started, that's it. Small steps, right, until you get there.
I,
Now, we didn't talk about the accident. I mean, do you want to just share what that is with our audiences to give them some, again,
oh,
motivation, because I think that's important. People sometimes, we all can have a good day and a bad day, and what happens after that. So your story can help some of our folks. I know we're coming to the end of the show here, but if you can just
sure.
briefly cover that.
I think the accident happened for me and not to me, because my life is incredible because I got hit by a car 6 years ago while I was running. A car was taking a right out of a parking lot and only looked left, like many of us do. If you're taking right, you look left. Nobody was coming. Screamed out of the parking lot, and I was right there. And I face planted into the windshield, and I left a tooth in the windshield. And then rolled off the car into. Luckily, it was a Sunday. This is a very busy road. There was not a lot of cars there, thankfully, because could have been really bad. I crawled back to the sidewalk. I lost a bunch of teeth and had to have a bunch of oral surgery to get new teeth put back into my head. And it took me out of the classroom. Prior to that, I was a coach, a group exercise instructor and trainer, but I had to stop working because of all the surgeries. I couldn't talk that well because I had a
Mhm.
bridge. Anyway, this was 6 years ago. Since then, my life has just grown and expanded, and I'm actually in the best shape of my life post getting hit by a car, which is incredible and super fun at 55.
Well, listen, I mean, I gotta admire your positivity here. I mean, it's not everybody takes it for with that same approach that it happened for me as opposed to me. I mean, it when things like this happen, they happen, and you can't do anything about it. It's how you deal with them, I think, is the key. You handle it well.
Well, I really think the universe, and I don't know if people think this is too wooey, the universe said, you have a great message to share and you need to get out of the classroom and reach more people. So it put the accident in my way because I was not really on social media. I didn't do any of the things I did. I found when I was recovering, I was always been a runner. And my Garmin, my running watch got smashed in the accident. So I found this app that had a running timer on it. Great. They had running coaches. And one day I was like, I'm a runner. I'm a coach. I could coach for them. It's FitRadio. So I reached out to them, and they didn't hire me then because I did not have my real teeth then, but they said stay in touch. Once I got my real teeth, guess what? They flew me out to Atlanta, Georgia, and I became a coach for them. I never would have done that. I never would have found FitRadio had I not been hit. So the opportunities that I have found along the way has been amazing.
Well, that's a message for all our folks. I mean, let's hope that no one ever gets hurt, but we know the reality, things can happen. But again, sometimes they happen for a good reason. And this was your shift, and you found your passion. You found something where you can also give back. I mean, you were doing a great job, in the previous life, in the previous job, but this just, it's more you. This is what you're meant to do and be. So sometimes that's what it takes we get a very sudden or abrupt, incident or event in our lives. And then next thing you know, like, oh, now I know why it happened. So if this never happened, I would have never. And, even talking about the pandemic earlier, the pandemic changed a lot of things. And some people really found themselves beyond the pandemic. And again, with all the losses, of course, we can never take it light, in terms of like what happened. But many people had the resilience and the coping, method and mechanics, in place that to turn it to something more positive. And a lot of people did, make it, in a better place. So thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think at least, again, talking about motivation, I think some of that can actually get people, because I guarantee you right now, someone who's watching and listening is probably just gone or still trying to figure out something that happened to them and how it's going to play. And, if anything, it could be better. It will be better. And this may be a good new page, new leaf for life, and, a much better, lifespan and a healthier, whatever it is that you'll be doing. So just take it for what it's worth, and the past is the past. It's gone. You can't do anything about it. You cannot, again, we can't turn the clock backwards, but you can certainly move on, and you can write whatever you want today. And I love that. I mean, for me, every day is a new day. It's a new year. It's a new page. It's a new opportunity. Yeah. And we all can learn from each other. I mean, I think these shows that we do here are just to influence, to help people, to educate them and share value. And they might not agree with everything we say sometimes, but take what you agree with. That's all we ask. And then apply that, maybe take something from somewhere else and you put it all together and make up your own formula. It's all good. But at least take something, that if worst case, at least it gives you some learning opportunity, or at least, some opinions, some ideas that you can apply. That's it. So Pam, any last words of wisdom for today's show?
Your health is your greatest wealth. If you want to change, take one thing at a time. When people are successful, they take one habit. It's called habit stacking. They take one habit, they put it into their day, they're successful with it, and then they get the second habit. When people try to, oh my gosh, I'm not going to drink any more wine. I'm not going to eat any carbs. I'm going to work out for an hour a day. I'm going to eat. Oh my gosh, it's never works. So it's so hard because we're the Insta society, Instagram, TikTok, but your health is not instant. So if you take one thing, build on that, and then build on that, slow and steady wins the health race. And consistency is always the key to see whatever success you want on your health journey.
That's it. Pam, thank you so much for being with us today. And we've covered a lot of grounds. And I think we've touched on areas that is important for everyone. So thank you so much again for your second, appearance here. And I love it. And hopefully we'll have many. And, keep up the great work there. Maybe we'll talk something else different, in the next, time we meet. And folks, I mean, I hope you enjoyed the discussion. You've got some real good nuggets to use and apply in life. And I'm your host, Hurricane H. We'll be talking soon. New day, new show, new topic, new guest. Bye for now.
Thanks so much.